Let's talk about icebergs. These popular images, talk about various trivia or facts, or just memes for shits and giggles. Started with Mario, yada yada yada, now they're everywhere, all kinds of videos, you've seen them all about. Now, despite that quick introduction, I like iceberg videos. They're entertaining to watch, especially if it's something you know about, or if you don't know about it, there's cool stuff to learn that you probably wouldn't have known. And, as a fan of Devil May Cry, as I never shut up about it, I found the perfect opportunity to do this. Now, at the time of recording this video, someone else has already made a video. Just so you know, I have not watched that video at all. So anything that I say will be different from his. It's the video you see on the screen. So, this is going to work like any other normal iceberg video. I'm going to start at the top, go all the way to the bottom. Now, this iceberg is actually two icebergs combined into one, with a few additions that I put in myself. Links to the original post are in the description. Thank you to the Reddit users whose names I forget as I'm recording this. But you guys did good. Now, to show what I know on each subject, that'll be indicated by the blue orb. If it's one piece of a blue orb, that means I know very little to almost nothing. Or it's just nonsense. If it's a full one, that means that I just know everything about it based on the research that I've done. Alright, let's go!
This party's getting crazy. Let's rock.
Starting off level 1, we have Secret Co-op. This happens 2 different times. First time is the doppelganger style. You get this pretty late in the game, but when you use it and the second player presses start, you're able to control it with the second controller. Pretty cool. The other time is when you're fighting Arkham with Virgil. As soon as Virgil hops into the fight, second player can press select, and then they also have free movement. Enhances the experience quite a bit if you ask me. Next we have the timeline change. So around DMC 5's development, there were some changes in the timeline. Not really much, basically just where the events of 4 are now after DMC 2. Next we have Redgrave. It's based on London. This is loosely based on it from various pieces of architecture. The developers decided to scout out various parts, including Tower Bridge or the London Borough Market. Trish is an unlockable character in DMC 2, but she's just a swap with Dante after completing hard mode in his campaign. That's basically it. She just does all Dante stuff except she does the lightning. Not much different. During development, Capcom wanted a more action-oriented Resident Evil, though while it was massively different than what they expected, they decided to use this idea. And some major changes, now it became what we know as Devil May Cry. Meanwhile, that other game was RE4. In the cutscenes before missions in DMC3, if you look very carefully at certain places, you can see mission numbers in the background, depending on what mission it is. Some of them are more obvious, a lot of them are also very subtle. So, if I remember correctly, in DMC 1, the store is called Devil May Cry, and by the end, it's changed to Devil's Never Cry. But by the time 4 comes around, it changes back to Devil May Cry, which doesn't make much sense. I never really found a reason why they changed it. It was always a weird addition, no matter how you put it. So as much as I can remember, DMC 4's development was hella rushed. They needed the game out at a certain time, and then they just cut a bunch of stuff in the game. And to save time, they just made the Dante half, instead of having original stuff, they just made it backtracking. This one's pretty simple. This was just some promotional art for DMC Devil May Cry, the reboot. There was some art of Dante in like a mugshot. People said made him look like a crack fiend. That's all. In the reboot, Virgil was seen wearing a trilby or a fedora. When it got re-released, it was gone. I don't know why, but there's speculation, or as far as I've heard, that the team just didn't like it and they just got rid of it, though it can be seen in the credits of the game in the special edition. Also in the credits, there's a bit where the actor for Dante hops on a skateboard, just goes, "My name is Dante," just skates off. It's not much trivia, I just thought it was really funny. It's still hilarious. Motivation's a common meme amongst DMC fans to come up when discussing Virgil or characters with similar tendencies, based on only his quote mid-battle, "Now I'm a little motivated." I'll be 100% honest, I never played the Virgil prologue, so I don't know how accurate this is. But as of researching this, there's no way for me to tell how accurate this is. Is there some talk of Nero's mom? Probably. But I don't know. If anyone knows, please tell me. I'm not too sure about this one either. I know the original team wasn't involved. It was a bunch of people from the arcade department of Capcom. And then Itsuno was brought in partway through development, and all that was done was a stinger. There was a small video by Source Gaming and an episode of What Happened, good old Matt McMuscles, talking about the development that kinda helped with the segment. Links to both them in the description. So in DMC 5, during the Urizen fight at the very, very beginning, you are normally supposed to lose. But if you beat him, the credits roll. Like, just flat out they roll and the game ends. Which is really funny. I never would have expected that, but if you're able to do it, I'd recommend checking it out. So, I'm not exactly sure what this means, but what I do know is that the track is a remix of Cerberus' old theme, and he transforms into different elements. The way that this is worded doesn't make much sense, and I try to make it work in the context of the words. From the way that this is spelled, I'm sure this is referring to the reboot, but this is just untrue. The game is an entirely different spin of the original story's universe, but with more Virgil involvement and Mundus being a person, and Bill O'Reilly for some reason. So there's this version of Dante's theme in 5, which is named Subhuman. The original was hilariously bad and later fixed, but you're still able to find it, and I will link the tracks in the description, because I don't want to get claimed. So this one is kinda weird. So the anime shows him depressed, and he's just brooding in 2. I'm sure that might stem from the depression, and Dante just doesn't give a shit anymore. There's no way to really know. You can't really get a read on his character in that game since he barely says anything. It just grunts. Not quite sure how valid this one is either. She doesn't really show signs of PTSD. She does mention killing her father a couple times. Not really throughout the series, but other versions. The only time I really remember is near the end of 5 when she's telling Nero how bad it would be to kill his father. Which is a nice little moment, but doesn't really seem like she's, traumatized by it. She just doesn't want Nero to make the same mistake. That's how I interpreted it. So, for DMC2, Capcom partnered with the clothing company Diesel, which worked with many other video game companies for some reason. It gives Dante and Lucia unlockable costumes. 2 of them! 2 different costumes, each. Great. So there's this thing that both game series actually share the same universe, as there are many references that cross over between the games. The name Redgrave comes across a couple times, an informant named Enzo, and of course the same developer. There are many, many more that I could list off, and there's probably a bunch of Reddit threads all about this kind of stuff. At least a few more, but I don't want to be here all day. This one was kind of obvious to me. Seeing as V needs to get back to Virgil ASAP being his human side, and that his summons are bosses from the first game, except for Phantom, which is kind of strange that he doesn't show up, but hey, that's fine. And V just ends up accepting everything from his past and becoming a new person once he converges back with Virgil, which I guess is nice. So around when the reboot was announced, Ninja Theory had a little slideshow that showed what they thought Dante was and wasn't. This included an image of Dante equipped with Gilgamesh surrounded by the cowboys from Brokeback Mountain. I don't get it. Dante's not really a cowboy type thing, except the cowboy hat and... Never mind, moving on. So, believe it or not, there actually is a Devil May Cry stage play. It was named The Live Hacker. It was only in Japan, as they normally do, back in 2019. There's not much I could really add, since I can't read their site as I don't know Japanese, and no one seems to know anything about it either, as I can't find anything about it on the wiki, except characters. That's about it. So this was pretty interesting. So for mission 10 of DMC5, if you hold down all the triggers on your controller and you select Dante, boom, he's got some shorter hair. Huh, neat. So in beta footage for DMC1, Dante's seems to be an outfit without the coat, which is very interesting. It reminds me of Cobra, you know, the manga character that no one knows. I don't know, that's just an inspiration for his character, so it seems to be fitting. This is referring to when Hideaki Itsuno went to a club after a PAX conference and did the funny dance meme that was made by the community, all to the theme of Devil Trigger, and you know what? You really love to see it. I don't know what this is. Yes, the game has art. Okay. Lots of games have concept art. I don't get it. Moving on. If you look into the files of DMC5, there is what possibly could be an unused logo for the game. I can't be too sure, but looks really fucking cool. I like it a lot. So, in various pieces of concept art, V was very different in his original character. He was even a woman at some point. But I don't know what they were trying to go for in these other designs. They at least look cool. Arkham's original name was Heine. Yes, that is how you pronounce that. Just seems that the name didn't work out, so it was changed. I don't know why it was changed, besides just that it probably didn't work. I mean, yeah, the game was planned to be made. This means it was planned to be bad or something? Just, no. No, that's not how this works. I tried looking for this, but there's really nothing. Honestly, the closest I could find to anything like this is gameplay in various trailers in the early stages. I mean, it looks a bit lighter in the lighting. That's about it. So, like many games, there are unused items, weapons, all kinds of things. Terra was a different sword. I can only assume the flame sword is Terra, as you see in the footage here. Seemed to be a very early version of Ifrit before it became the gauntlets. I'll leave the video in the description. Thank you for whoever recorded this. Your name escapes me. I'll probably edit it in post. But if you know anything, please tell me about it. Even looking at the concept art, seems that way, but not really sure. So, this was a shock to find. But, look at what they did to my boy. He's a freaking Bishi boy, and honestly, I'm still not sure how I'm supposed to feel about it. I can only assume this is Dante, as he has Dante's voice clips, but maybe this is supposed to also be like a prototype for Nero? I don't know, but I'm glad it got changed. Let's see. Gilver is a character from the novel, which I never read. Spoilers for anyone who really cares about the novels. He was originally Virgil, but Capcom later said it wasn't him and just an Angelo clone. Well done, Capcom, sweeping it under the rug as usual. If only your actors could be better at their secrets. I don't know if this is a theory of sorts, but it's clearly said that Sparta died some time ago. I'm not sure where this all spawned from, really. Except the reboot. Maybe that's where it came from, but we don't really talk about Gimp Sparta. So, Lady's not legitimately playable. She does have a special costume in the game that you can unlock with the special costume option, but everyone gets those, and someone was able to actually make it playable, if only for a second. Shoutouts to this user on Reddit where I found this. It's really well made. So this theory coincides with the ideas the games are in the 2 universe. Honestly, this kind of reminds me of that like Hercules, Ariel, or Cousins theory, but I really couldn't find much on it. Alright, this is a weird thing. So, some people actually think that the character of J.D. Morrison is basically 2 different people just because of a redesign. Sure, yeah. I mean, Itsuno said that they were the same person, but yeah, sure. Just think that they're different. So this is one of those things people must have thought since we never really saw the character. I mean, she is alive in the prequel novel, which is, I guess you can count that as canon, but we never really know what happened to her after that. Alright, so this one's just a dumb joke where it said that Dante really likes Trish because he looks like his mom. Perhaps he likes other ladies who looks like his mom. I mean, this is untrue, but it's just so funny to really think about. Probably what people thought at first, playing DMC1. I feel this is a similar thing to the Virgil's therapy that I mentioned earlier, considering the mental scars as his time as Nello Angelo, all that other stuff I talked about earlier. But that's all I can really say other than that. I don't know what Devils Can't Cry is, if that's a thing. I mean, yeah, sure, devils can't cry. But a devil may cry. Yeah, I don't see this one at all. This probably came from the fact that they're both creations from a master of varying powers used to sway the hero one way. But I don't really know what Arius's relation is to Mundus or why. Plus, they both made them separate, so it's not like they were made together. I don't know. Until we hear otherwise, I'm just knocking this off as false. This is a weird instance. So, in canon normal DMC, no, they're not. But in the reboot, they're more like brothers in arms. They're Aniki in the Japanese sense. Yeah, this is just wrong. I just explained this earlier. Trish was just made in Eva's image to lure Dante to Malay Island for Mundus to kill him. Just gave him a reason to trust some random stranger who walked into his building. That's it. This is a huge meme amongst any video game fan, even. Not even DMC fans. But it's just that Dante hasn't had any sexual relations with that woman. People just think he doesn't know because of it. Just because he hasn't really had any romantic interest. He just rejects any advances onto him. Except that one time in 4 when he fought when he was getting playful with the ladies on the frog thing. But we don't talk about that. That doesn't count in my heart. He's a pure boy. So, this was interesting. There was a PSP launch title named Dance of Sparta. There's not much we know about it. There were talks about it maybe being about Sparta, and maybe there was a DS game. It was stuck in development hell for some time, and then we just never heard about it again. I was able to find out a lot of this information thanks to someone on YouTube named Jojo Wi-Fi. He has a video here which I will link in the description. I'd recommend giving it a watch if you want to learn about it. We still don't know who the original director of DMC2 was. I tried selecting around to a bunch of places, but we literally don't know the person's guy by name. The only director we know by name is Itsuno, and it's real mystery on why it never came to light. I don't know what this is, never heard anything about it, have no information. If anyone knows anything about an undeveloped lady game, please tell me, and if you're a developer, please give me a copy. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if this was cut. I mean, there were a lot of things that were cut. I didn't find anything about a perfect devil trigger for Nero being cut while researching this part. It'd be interesting and something neat to talk about if it were true. Instead, it's just nothing. Oh well. Well, that was fun. That's the end of the iceberg. Yay! This was probably my favorite video to make in quite some time. Just because I got to learn so many neat and interesting things. Shoutouts to the Devil May Cry wiki that helped with a lot of this information, as well as the art book that came out recently, or at least in English it came out recently. This really helped me as I was getting some research done in the later stages. If there's anything that I missed, go ahead and tell me in the comments. If there's enough reception, I will make a follow-up of all the things that I missed, misinformed, any additions that you'd want me to talk about, all that good stuff. And in that case, thanks for watching. Spread this around, and I don't know, maybe I'll make another video like this. And I'll just make another video to begin with. Now, if you excuse me, I got some Devil May Cry to play.